Good day, this is Mr. Dizon, and for today I'll be presenting you how to use your SPSS. Now, SPSS basically stands for your statistical packages for the social sciences. So we have the letters SPSS. Now, to give you an idea before we start, SPSS is very similar with your Microsoft Excel. However, the difference would be Microsoft Excel, the use of Microsoft Excel is could be range from not just on statistics. It could be used in on simply organizing data from other mathematical functions, or just simply you want to use your tables. Now, that's one flexibility of Excel. It could be used all around. However, with your SPSS specializes on statistical functions and formulas. So unlike with Excel, Excel lacks some statistical functions. However, for on the part of your SPSS, all statistical functions can be found and used on your SPSS software. Okay, so let's get it started. So how to look for your SPSS? This is the icon of for your SPSS. Basically, you could find it on your local disk drive D. So the folder will be SPSS, and technically you could search for stats as the application. So let's open it. So let's open this icon. There will be an opening window, etc. Blah blah blah. Okay, there are two windows. The larger window would be the main window. So you could just simply X the small window, or if you want to open save files from your SPSS, you could locate it here. So I'll just X this one. Okay. Now in terms of your X SPSS, let's do it step by step. Okay. First things first. Check on these two bottoms, just like the worksheet on your Microsoft Excel. Okay. Now your SPSS contains your variable view, then your data view. Now first things first, we will be encoding data on your variable view. Then once we'll be encoding data, later we'll be going with your data view, which would now be where you will be encoding the information gathered from your respected respondents. Okay, so let's first go with your variable view. Now with your variable view, in order to know what we will be encoding on your variable view, let's go back a little bit from your research. Okay, now when we do actual research, for instance, as a researcher, and you'll be following the IMRAD format. So IMRAD stands for Introduction, Methodology, Results, and Discussion, or Results, Analysis, and Discussion. For the first part, you will be doing chapters 1 and 2. Chapters 1 and 2 is basically your introduction and your methodology. Now, under your introduction, you have to craft your the introduction of the problem. Then afterwards, you'll be going with your theoretical, conceptual framework. You'll be crafting them. Then you'll be crafting as well your statement of the problems. You need to visualize already the variables to be measured and such. Then after finalizing your chapter 1, you now go with your chapter 2, which is now your methodology, which basically under your methodology, you have to design already your data gathering tool or your data gathering instrument. Now, in this case, in political science or in social science in general, the common tool that we are using or instrument would now be your questionnaire. So your questionnaire must reflect the theories and especially the concepts that you have mentioned in your chapter 1, together with the variables and your statement of your problems. So technically, to give you an idea, may I use this? This is from a Microsoft Word file. So this is an example of your questionnaire. So before going with your SPSS, may I give you a background of this sample? Okay, the sample questionnaire technically attempts to measure the political participation of Muslim migrants in Baguio. Okay, looking into although I don't have the literature, I'll just give you a background about the literature. The independent variable would now be, there are two independent variables. So these are the presumed costs. So you want to know the number of years staying in Baguio City. So how long? Then you want to know the gross annual income of a certain respondent. So the gross annual income is technically scale interval ratio. However, for this questionnaire, it has been created through an ordinal scale, ordinal rather. So I remember this is adopted from the National Economic Development Authority, or NEDA, of the Philippines. So this is it. So we have independent variable 1, years of staying. Then independent 2 would now be your gross annual income. Okay, these are the presumed costs. For your dependent variable, and basically one of the variables that you wanted to measure is all about political participation. So under political participation, this questionnaire technically adopts the theory of Van det Newton's political determinants. So under Van det Newton's political determinants, Van det mentioned that a person politically participates through campaign elections, through contacting government officials, protest action, social movements, social engagement, and such. Okay. And under those sub-variables, we have determinants. So under elections, have you voted, campaign, posted stickers, etc. So this is now your dependent variable. Now, going back with your research, technically, this would now be the variables which is reflected with your statement of the problem. And they are clearly defined on your conceptual framework. So this is now your questionnaire. I forgot to include, basically this is the important one, introduction statements. So you identify the age, the genders, the city address, etc. You could include more, but basically this is it. Okay. Now I have mentioned about the concepts, the variables. Let's go back with your SPSS. Okay. Now the concepts that which are reflected on the questionnaire, we will be putting those information on your variable view. Now it goes like this. Okay. May I use the questionnaire for instance? So for instance, the first item that you want to know is name, although that is optional, and I think that is irrelevant. Let's go to the age. So by the way, there are two opened SPSS windows. However, I'll just show you how to encode some of those variables. Okay. So the first thing is age. When you encode age, automatically may lumalabas na nagtagalog. Automatically naglabas yung may automatic na maglalabas na input. Okay. What are essential labels dito? Name. So technically the name is sort of like anong IT terminology to. More likely ito yung binary code nung SPSS, no. So discard mo yan, no. A type, pabayaan mo yan. With, it has something to do with the table, wala din yan. Decimal. 2, standard na yan, wag na natin galawin. Now yung label, more likely kung ano linagay mo dito sa name, yun din ilalagay mo sa label. However, ang difference kasi nito, ito is for the system, the name. Itong label is pag later in my further videos, if you want to generate the findings, yung label na yan yung label ng tables ng findings. Makikita natin yan sooner, no? Daming alam. Okay, so labels. Okay, ano tong values? Okay. Let's go back with the classification of variables. Tandaan natin yung no-ear, nominal, ordinal, interval, at ratio. Now, for the case of the SPSS, interval and ratio is classified as scale or continuous. Okay. So, under values, pag scale yan, wala ka nang pipindutin. Hindi mo na pipindutin yung tatlong dots. Makikita natin yung essence nito pagdating sa ordinal. So, just leave it blank. At yung kagandahan ng SPSS kasi, when you try to look on this column measures, dyan na. Pwede nating ma-identify kung scale, ordinal, or nominal yung isang variable. Unlike sa Microsoft Excel, walang mechanism yung Excel kung ma-identify niya to as scale, ordinal, at nominal. Kaya makikita din natin kung anong tamang test yung kailangan natin when we try to know the relationship or the difference of certain variables. Kung nagba-bivariate statistics na tayo. So, scale yung age natin, no? Kasi continuous siya. So, tanda natin na dapat kabisado na natin yung classification of variables. Okay. Now, aside from age, next would now be gender. So, lagay natin dyan gender. When we classify gender, male, female, okay. So, lagay din natin dito would now be gender. Okay. Now, age kasi 1 to 100, 1 to 120, madami yan. Scale. Now, pagdating dito sa gender, more likely dalawa. Or if you want to use the scale na male, female plus the third sex or the LGBT, etc., pwede din natin siya malagay dito. Now, may I just use for instance male at female. Okay. So, makikita na natin paano tong values. Click on values. Now, may lalabas na tatlong boxes. Yung value would now be numerical value. So, lalagay natin 1. Sabihin na natin for instance, gagawin natin male. Now, para saan tong 1? Para saan tong 1? Now, later, when we put your data, our respondents data dito sa data view, no need to encode for the whole male term, with the male word. So, lalagay natin instead na mag-encode tayo ng male, lalagay lang natin would now be 1. Okay. Going back, value would now be 2, stands for female, then add. So, 1 would now be male, 2 would be female. Now, some would ask, hindi pwede kasi nominal yan. Those two terminologies are equal with one another. Now, tanda natin may mechanism yung SPSS to identify, for the encoder to dictate kung ano yung variable niya. So, more likely, yung essence ng 1 or 2 dito sa table na to is just symbolic. It is just symbolic. Makikita natin mamaya yung rationality behind it, no? So, lagay na natin yan, male, female. Then, sinasabi ko kanina, nominal siya. So, gender. Okay. Next would now be city address. Irrelevant yan. Let's go to the first independent variable, number of years staying in Baguio City. So, okay. Makikita na natin yung difference ng name at label columns. Dito is mechanism. Sa name would now be the mechanism. You could create shortcuts. However, walang space. Kasi kunyari maglalagay tayo ng space. Number of residency, maglalagay ng illegal character daw yan. Ano lang siya, it's for the sake of the system. Kaya pwede din tayo maglagay ng shortcut dito. So, kunyari, number of years, N years Baguio. Discarte na yan ng respondent. If you want to put a space behind terms, lagay mo na lang ng underscore. Yan. Yan, basta ganyan yan. Okay. Now, important sa label, yung terminology na gusto mong lumabas sa iyong findings. Kaya dito, more likely you have to complete number of years in Baguio, for instance. Kasi yan yung mag-reflect sa ating table mamaya. Yan, okay. Number of years, is it scale, ordinal or nominal? You could exceed for 1, 2, or you could now leave, kunwari 64 ka na, so scale yan, no need to put any values. Okay. Now, after your number of years staying, ito, gross annual income. Now, in-adapt natin yung range. So, technically, this is now ordinal. Now, paano to? Okay. So, ilalagay natin dito would now be general weighted average. Shortcut na lang natin. For formality's sake, dito sa label, encode na lang natin. Annual income. At since gumamit tayo ng ordinal, pwede tayong dumiretso dito or automatically alam naman na natin, we could now go with your values. Now, paano tong values? May just go dun sa ginawa ko na kanina. Okay. Ito yung ginawa ko kanina. Look So, we started with age, gender. Pindutin ko. Age, gender, number of years, then guy stands for general annual income. Medyo ano kasi yan, no? So, dito muna tayo, no? So, guy goes to annual income. So, check nyo yung pagka-input ko ng values, no? Okay. Now, always remember pag ordinal, diba, the numbers are not equal with one another or yung range are not equal with one another. So, tignan natin yung nakalagay sa ating questionnaire, no? So, below, you could pause it, okay? Pag nakita nyo na, balik tayo dito, no? So, yung pinakamababa would be the lowest value. I opted to choose 1. You could opted to choose 0. However, I encourage you to use 1 na lang as the lowest up to the highest. So, 177. Okay, so yan no? And as well, ordinal. Now, okay, dito tayo. Campaign, etc. Balik tayo dito. So, kunyari, okay. I hope na-gets nyo ito, no? So, I'll be jumping from yung nagawa ko na, no? So, kunyari, natapos na natin yung general annual income. Ang next ngayon na ilalagay natin na information na nasabi sa ating questionnaire will now be the dependent variable. Ito yung mismong gusto nating mahanap talaga, yung political participation. So, may 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May 5 sub-variables yung pag-determine natin ng political participation. So, unahin natin yung una. So, campaign elections, no? So, there are 9 questions. No, ano yung gagawin natin dito? Okay. So, when you try to check dito sa nagawa ko na, so campaign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 9 items under campaign, yung variable under campaign. And when you try to check yung labels natin, so for each campaign, nakalagay yung mismong label o yung item. Look up, campaign 1, attending political campaign speeches. Napunta tayo sa questionnaire. So, campaign 1, number 1, attended politicians' candidate campaign speeches. So, for each item ng sub-variable na yun, gagawan natin siya ng sariling label. So, ganun yung nangyari, no? So, yun. And I forgot, no? Paano yung sagot? Okay. Going back with the questionnaire, no? So, yung paano natin na-measure yung campaign, yung elections, or simply the whole political participation. Yung questionnaire adopts a 5-point Likert scale. So, always, often, sometimes, rarely, then never. Now, pag pumunta tayo sa SPSS, check the values. Okay, dito tayo. Campaign 1, may I just click this one. So, 1 as never, yung lowest, hanggang sa 5 as always. So, I hope na gets na din natin paano na ma-input yung data dito, no? So, click OK, then ordinal. Tandaan natin na with all the items, information sa questionnaire, tandaan natin we must identify kung ano yung type ng variable, no? Type ng variable, no? So, yun yung nagawa natin, no? Now, sa dami-dami ng input, there are some shortcuts. For instance, you could just Control-C this one when you want to input, then Control-V. Control-V, ganun lang siya kadali, no? For the values. However, matmabaho siya, no? Okay. Now, campaign 1, campaign 1 up to campaign 9. So, na-reflect na yung kada ano niya. Now, ano to ibig sabihin ng campaign X? Okay. It's a good habit when you do your research for every sub-variable, you already you must compute for the weighted average. Kasi going back with your descriptive statistics, diba? The mean could provide a description. Mean, diba? Mean basically provides a generalization of a population. Now, these general populations could now provide a description with the population. So, kunyari, in terms of campaign elections, hanapin mo lahat yan, no? So, technically, this could be done manually. I suggest manually, or you could do this through Excel, etc. Ito lang yung mechanism na hindi magawa ng SPSS, na hanapin mo lahat yung weighted mean ng campaign elections ng isang respondent. So, magma-manual computation tayo dito. Now, ano yung essence nito? Kasi, if you want to analyze mano by mano yung mga variables dito, mahirapan ka, masyadong hahaba yung data. And majority of the statisticians will now describe, or will now propose rather, na you also need to find for the general weighted average of the sub-variable that you'll be computing. So, ganyan yung lalabas, no? Now, a good practice when you try to encode those data, lalo na pag when you have a research team, may isang taga-encode, lalo na pagdating dito, I'll explain it later. May isang taga-encode, may isang taga-enumerate yung taga-salita, at may isa din nagko-compute ng general weighted average. So, kada sub-variable may weighted mean, no? So, yung weighted average ng campaign participation, CGO, stands for contacting government official. So, 6 items din yan. So, 6 items, balik tayo dito. So, 6 items, ginawa din ng researcher nito, is after the 6 items, hinanap niya din yung weighted average ng lahat. Per respondents yun, Then, same with protest action. So with 9, so ilang items to? 9. So, 9 din, nakikita din natin yung yung laman ng question or ng item. Then, hinanap niya din. Same with social movement. I hope na nagets din yung ano. Ayan, social movement. Then with social engagement. Then we have a last question, overall opinion. And nandyan din yung overall opinion natin. Okay. So, ganyan siya, no? Okay. I hope na-gets din yung ordinal. Ordinal lahat yan. Kasi all from campaign up to SE stands for social engagement. Civic engagement, rather. Gumamit ng Likert scale, kaya ordinal. Okay. Now, for instance, natapos na natin tong variable view. Ito na yung matrabaho. Okay. So, nalagay na natin, we want to input lahat nung, or rather, we want to extract and compute for the answers of the respondents. Pupunta tayo sa data view. So, ganyan. Now, by the way, ito muna. Kunyari, ito muna. So, we have age, gender, years, blah, blah, etc. Pupunta tayo sa data view. So, yung na-encode natin dito, under the name or under the label, lalabas siya sa data view. Now, look kaya sinasabi kong binary system, I forget the IT term, di ba? Guy, general, annual. So, pagdating natin dito, ang ginamit is guy. It's for the system. Okay. Now, para saan tong columns na to? Para saan tong columns na to? Ito ngayon yung mag-reflect ng ating data, yung data na kukunin natin sa respondents. Now, itong rows, 1, 2, 3, so forth, etc. would now be yung respondents natin. So, technically, kung mag-encode na kayo ng data, for instance, okay, una nyo nakuha ang papel, that would now be respondent 1. So, ano yung age niya? Sabihin na natin 12. Ano yung gender niya? Female. So, lalagay natin 2. Kung naalala nyo kanina, di ba? Yung values natin dito sa variable view. Male, female. So, ganun. Now, yun yung basically kagandahan din sa Excel is instead of encoding the whole female, you could just simply encode 1 or 2. The number of years of staying, 12 years, kunyari na nasa Baguio siya. General annual income, yung sinagot ng respondent is nasa below 100,000. So, number 1. So, ganyan siya, no? Oops, number 1. Encode ko ba? Hindi ko kasi nalagay. Okay, punta tayo dun sa tabulated data. So, ito yung variable, yun. So, look 40. So, respondent number 1 or questionnaire number 1. Gender male. Residency is 8 years. Yun yung number of years staying. Yung general weighted average niya is below 100,000 or simply 1. Then, nandyan na never, never, never. Now, to review things, dito sa bandang tab part, baba ng tab, may tinatawag tayong value labels. Now, pag dinownload nyo yung SPSS, technically, ganyan pa siya. So, habang nag-encode ka, 40, 1, 8, 1, 1, 1, 1. So, more likely, you'll be sounding like robots. 1, 1, 1, 3, 1. Okay. Now, to validate it, click nyo to. Yan, lalabas na siya. Or more likely, pwede din kayo mag-encode na kahit naka-worded siya, no? Instead of the numerical, naka-alphabet siya. So, kunyari, press ko dito is 2, automatically nagaganon siya. So, kanya-kanyang discard yan actually. So, ganun yung pag-input natin ng data, no? So, from your campaign, etc. blah, blah, blah. Now, basically, I'll be making another video on how we could now gather or extract or rather compute yung compute data coming from your encoded data. So, basically under dito siya, no? But that would be another video. So, I think that's all. Ano pa ba? And that's it. Before that one, no? Okay. So, 50 respondents to, no? Okay. Wala na. Okay. So, thank you.